Hello everyone and welcome to this video for Understanding t-test seminar. So in this video we'll be going through how the output was produced for the independent samples t-test. So that's for the first activity in the seminar. I'll also go through the data assumption checking that you would normally do prior to running the t-test. So before we start, I just want to remind you where everything is. So on Blackboard there's a link to the parametric test of difference walkthrough. So I'll open that up. And this walkthrough takes you through parametric tests of difference, which are the t-tests. So it'll take you through t-tests for between group samples and for repeated measures design. So that would be the independent samples t-test and the paired samples t-test. So there's a knowledge check quiz which you can do in your own time, and just to remember that you always have this resource. It will take you through conducting assumption checking, conducting the actual t-tests and reporting them in APA style, so you always have this walkthrough to guide you. So both of the activities today are actually part of your practice portfolio part B. They are in section 2. So the first activity is this t-test here. There's some background to the study. So it's around looking at self-rated positive affect and whether that's influenced by listening to favourite music. So participants were either randomly allocated to a condition where they sat in silence for 20 minutes or sat listening to their favourite music for 20 minutes. After that, they all completed a questionnaire which related to positive affect. And this is the output for the independent samples t-test, which has been run to test whether listening to music had an impact on positive affect. So this is the data set that you have. We can see that we have a ID for each person, and we can see in this that people either allocated to group 0 or group 1. And we have 40 participants. So group 0 are sitting in silence, group 1 are listening to favourite music. And then we have for each person a positive affect score. So the first thing I need to do is check whether the data is suitable. So we need a categorical IV, which we have. We need a continuous dependent variable. So one of the other things I need to check is whether this continuous score, the dependent variable, is normally distributed for each group. So I go to Analyze, Descriptive Statistics, and Explore. I need to separate out these descriptive statistics and test normality by group. So I click on Group and move that into something called the factor list. And then I need to transfer the positive affect score variable into the dependent list. Now I can leave most of the default options as they are, but I'll need to go into Plots, choose Histogram, and Normality Plots with Tests. I could also do the Levene's test in this through the Explore function, but I'll leave that till later. Click Continue, click OK. And here we have our information. So if you cast your mind back to the Exploring Assumptions seminar that you've completed, we would be looking at the descriptive statistics here, so looking at the mean and the trim mean to see how similar they are, to see how similar the median is to the mean, and so on. We would look at our skew and kurtosis values to get a sense of how our data is distributed for each group on positive affect. Looking at our tests of normality, because we have smallish sample sizes, so we have less than 50 participants in each group, we would use the Shapiro-Wilk test. And we can see here that those are two non-significant results, so that's a tick in the box, suggesting that the data is normally distributed. We would look at our histograms. Now, because we don't have many observations, it's quite challenging sometimes to interpret the histograms, but we can see that they're following a roughly normal shape, normal distribution. That's a very quick assumption checking completed. The data is available on Blackboard if you want to do a more thorough checking, but I would use that to suggest that the data on balance looks appropriate for an independent samples t-test. So we'll go back to the data now, and we'll run the t-test. So this is how the data output that you're going to be interpreting in today's session was produced. So I'll go to Analyze, I'll go to Compare Means, and I want to go to Independent Samples t-test. My grouping variable is group, so either in the silent or the music condition, and I'm going to transfer that over. And now this option with these question marks will appear, so I'll click on Define Groups, and I need to tell SPSS which two groups to look at, because technically there could be more than two groups in the data. SPSS doesn't know unless we tell it. So we know that our two groups are labelled as 0, 1, 1, so that's how we'll label them here. 0, 1, sorry, how they're coded. Click Continue, and then the test variable is our dependent variable, the thing that we're comparing the two groups on. So we click on Positive Effect Score, transfer that over. Okay, so we can leave the default options as they are for now, and we'll click OK, and it will produce our output. And this is the output that is in your practice portfolio and in your seminar materials for today. Thank you.